bat for it not being centered in the frame, and for any extra noise, because my truck is loud. Previous owner had a glass pack installed on it, so it's very, very loud. So forgive me for that. Plus, I'm on the highway, so and I apologize for the camera shaking. Literally, I'm using my phone that's sitting in its phone holder that's suction cupped to the windshield. So this is a okay. Why are we stopping? Don't you dare! Don't you dare come in my lane. There we go. Very good. All right. Anyways, sorry. So this vlog has two purposes. The first is a purpose talking about the video quality on the channel. I've had a couple people tell me that, the quality doesn't look that bad. Well, to me it does. I mean, because when I render out excuse me, when I render out my videos, I render them out. I used to go by YouTube's recommended rendering specs for the bitrate and everything else, and it not only rendered out looking horrible, but then they recompress the video so it looks even worse after it's been uploaded. So I render it out at a higher bitrate, much higher bitrate than what they suggest, and it looks a lot better than what it used to, but they still, because of their compression that they do on videos that are uploaded, and this doesn't happen on all videos either. It had, from what my research has turned up, I think my camera's slowly turning. Well, that's not better. Whatever. From my research, it would seem that that YouTubers who have, I think it's either a certain number of viewers or a certain number of videos, or I don't know. It's high, bigger YouTubers. They are allowed higher bit rates on their videos. So I'm guessing their videos aren't, okay, this is really driving me nuts. That's a little better. Their videos aren't compressed as much, which is why YouTubers like Matthias and PewDiePie and the bigger name YouTubers, those guys, their videos are crystal clear, and the reason is because they're bigger YouTubers that, so YouTube, I guess, is willing to be, a little more lenient on the amount of space that they're allowed to, have on their servers for their videos. And again, this isn't my theory. This is what, my research has uncovered. So, yeah, even though I render out at a high bit rate and, and upload in 1080p and everything, it's still, it doesn't matter what codec I use, it doesn't matter what format I render out the video in, it's still, because I've not only done YouTube's recommended settings, I've gone through, different YouTubers' videos of where, their suggestions and everything. None of it works. Every bit of it, that my videos will be crystal clear at points, but then the moment that there's a lot of motion, it pixelates for a while and then it clears up again. Sometimes it's just random. Sometimes that was weird. Sometimes it'll just pixelate for no reason. And again, while I've been told that it's not, that it's not that bad, it still bugs me. But anyway, so I apologize for those of you that have watched the videos and you've seen that, and you think the same thing I do. Man, this is horrible. Why didn't this guy do a better job of spend more time rendering out his videos? I do. I render them out in very high quality, but yeah. Because when I watch back the videos after they're rendered, the they're crystal clear all the way through. No issues, no pixelation, nothing. It's not until YouTube compresses it that it looks horrible. So, okay, that's in that. So I'm sorry that some of the videos don't look that great. The other half of this vlog is something I've been feeling very strongly about sharing, because right now I'm going through a difficult time. What for me is a difficult time. I have this friend that I used to work with. Worked with her for years at Walmart. And her and I had gotten extremely close. And as some of you, I know I've mentioned this in other vlogs before, so some of you may know what I'm talking about. But I got extremely close to her, to the point to where, we were basically dating, but we weren't dating. She didn't want to date coworkers, but still, it was, everybody saw it, and we didn't hide it. So we were close, and it was that way for about a year. And then I asked her out. She said if we didn't work together, I would. And so I was like, okay, I understand. I was very understanding. I let it go. And then about 6 months later, we kept getting closer and closer and closer. 6 months later, I asked her out again, and she said, I told you if we didn't work together, I would, and it was a whole conversation, and it turned into, me getting upset because, in my opinion, if you're not going to give a guy a chance, a legitimate chance, and actually allow them to take you out on at least one date, to see how it goes, then you should not lead that person on. And that's exactly what she did. And I have no ill will towards her whatsoever. I still love her just as much now as I did 6 years ago. But, this whole thing is just explaining why I'm going through what I am right now. So yeah, I got irritated with her, she got irritated with me, and it started this gap forming between the two of us. Then, she kept, even though she drifted away, she'd keep coming back, and it was just this back and forth thing of, she was very much interested, but, because of her past, and that's the thing, she has a past. She has an ex-husband who treated her horribly, and she's very leery of men, mostly because of him, but also because her biological father left her when she was younger and everything. I guess he treated her mom horribly, I'm assuming. So yeah, she has a distrust of men for the most part, but she let me in. So anyways, this is whole thing of going back and forth. Well, the very last, when I decided I was going to quit Walmart and do this job, which technically I'm working right now. I work for Nabisco, which I did a whole series of vlog videos where I explained the changes that have happened in my life and everything, but I never got around to uploading them, and then I had issues with my computer, and I lost a bunch of footage and everything, and I think those were part of it. But I quit Walmart and I went to work for Nabisco as a merchandiser. Nabisco makes, Oreos, Wheat Thins, premium saltines, Triscuits, Chips Ahoy, yada yada yada, vanilla wafers, stuff like that, Ritz. And anyway, so yeah, I'm making a lot more money working part-time than what I did full-time at Walmart. So anyways, so I got this job, and in the last week that I worked at Walmart, and this was back in October, right now it's the very end of July 2019, well, this was back in October of 2018. I told, or yeah, she knew that I was leaving, and yet, she kept saying things like, well, when you leave, I'm not going to be nice to you, and all this stuff. Because I still do that store to this day. Usually only on the weekends, but I still, have to, as a merchandiser, I have to go stock at that store. But, so yeah, she knew that I was going to be leaving, and for a while, she was kind of hateful toward me and everything, but, at the same time, there were days where she was, all flirty and clingy and everything. Well, the very last day that I worked with her, it wasn't the last day I was scheduled to work with her, because I had a couple days worth of personal time that, the last 2 days I was supposed to work with her, I just decided, I'm just going to call in. Well, last day I actually worked with her. She was super flirty and everything, and I asked my other coworker, my buddy Ralph, we were on break when she was doing this, and I asked her, hey, or I asked him, I go, hey, did you see that? And he goes, yeah, you know why she's doing that, right? And I go, no, why? And he goes, because she knows you're leaving, and she doesn't want you to leave, And anyways, long story short, I left. I called in the last 2 days I was supposed to work with her. Well, then I had one more work day after that. Of course, she was off that day, so I'm sure she heard that I came back after, on the day she was off. And anyways, since then, I've gone out of my way, a few times to talk to her, and when we talk, it's a pleasant conversation. I get her laughing and stuff, and she seems genuinely happy to talk to me, but she won't come and talk to me. She ignores me, pretends like I'm not there, so I have to make the effort. Well, so yeah, she was all being hateful. Well, I got to where I just avoided trying to be there, when she was there. So naturally on the weekends, it's Sunday right now, naturally on the weekends, when she was there, because she always worked the weekends, man, traveling is fast when you're talking to a camera. I would avoid being there because the hurt, because like I said, I still care every bit as much about her now as I did, 6 years ago when we were close. So whenever she would ignore me and be hateful, it would hurt deeply, so I got tired of that hurt, so I avoided it. Well, that leads me to now and the situation that I'm currently in. It's hard for me to talk about because it hurts really bad, but I found out last week, on the weekend when I was there, I found out from my former manager that she was quitting Walmart, which, most people, even my friend Jessica, she was trying to get me to look at it from that perspective, from the perspective of, hey, you were always avoiding her anyway, so why are you so upset about this? She's gone now, so you don't have to worry about running into her, and like I said, on the weekend, since I have wanted to avoid bumping into her, I wouldn't get done with my job until 3:30 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon because, I had to go to that store later. Well, the thing is and I tried to explain it to her, and it's one of those things where it may only make sense to me in my head, but I tried to explain to my friend Jessica. I said, the thing is, I avoided her because of the fact that it hurt whenever I would, be in there and she would ignore me and everything. That hurt. So that's why I stayed away. But the thing is I always knew that, or I knew that if I ever wanted, to talk to her for any reason, I knew she would be there at Walmart, that I could just go in there and talk to her. Well, then I found out that she was quitting, and just deep sadness, and depression hit, because I realized I'm never going to see her again. And it's the truth. I mean, unless she happens to be in there shopping on a day that I'm working, or I don't know if you all know what Dollar Tree is. It's, a dollar store. Everything's $1. I go in there to get some basic necessities once in a while, and there's been a few times where I bumped into her in there. And unless I actually did bump into her in either Walmart or Dollar Tree, the chances are I will never see her again. And that realization got me so depressed and upset. And it got me thinking. I have a couple other friends that are going through some pretty dark times right now and everything. And that got me thinking about a lot of things. Then I had Bible study. I lead a Bible study on Thursday nights, and this past Thursday it was actually just me and a brother in Christ that I also used to work with at Walmart. And he mentioned how we go through seasons, and that we weren't even talking about my situation or anything, but he mentioned that we go through seasons. And I started thinking a lot about that, and watching some John Piper. If you don't know who John Piper is, he's a really, really well-known preacher. And I started watching some of his sermons and stuff, and obviously I study my Bible pretty much every day, and everything, and I read devotionals and everything else. And like I say, it got me thinking about the whole seasons thing, and I started realizing that I'm going through a change in season right now. And the thing is most Christians refer to trials and everything, and yes, we have trials. We go through trials, and the trials are the tough times that we have. That God is doing multiple things through these trials. Trying to help us to rely on Him more, to trust Him more, to grow closer to Him. He's testing our faith in Him and everything. But the thing is that, I started looking at it from the perspective of a season or changing of a season in our lives is multiple trials that we go through. And usually, and the more I thought about my past and, the way things change in my life and everything, and, the seasons that I've gone through, or the way seasons have changed in the past, and, all the trials that, have changed, signified heralded the changing of a season, I started to realize that that these seasons, usually it's a bunch of small trials that kind of put you through some difficult times, but usually it's just things that will annoy you, or something along those lines. You're usually not anything that's gonna completely break you, but it always ends up before the season before the changing of the seasons is complete, and things start smoothing out some, there's always a really, really difficult trial that you have to go through, and usually it's a big change in your life. And for me, I started looking back, and for me, this changing of the season has been a little over 2 years long. The first change came just before I found my church home that I'm at, and that's Bethany Baptist Church, and which, by the way, if you go to my channel page, you can see a link to the channel of the church, which I run, and you can watch some of my pastor's sermons and everything if you want to. But anyways, but the changing of but yeah, this changing of the season started then. Okay, you can go, even though it's red, because you're turning right and there's nobody coming. There you go. Gotta be an older person. Anyways, but the changing of the seasons started, or this season started a couple of years ago, just before I found my church home. I was living in an apartment, which, you know, if you go back and look at some of my older videos, you'll be able to, well, the older videos that are currently still there, I'm going to be deleting all the rest of the older videos, because they're from a time when I wasn't close to God, and there's a lot of cursing and swearing and everything, so, and inappropriate humor. So I started deleting a bunch of them, and then I got sidetracked. But I used to live in an apartment, and I was, you know, miserable. I'd lived in that apartment for 14 years or so, and it seemed like I was never going to move out. You know, I felt like a college kid. You know, I was living in an apartment, working a horrible job at, you know, Walmart. And yes, working for Walmart is horrible. I don't care what anybody says. You will never ever get me to admit that Walmart is a good place to work. It used to be back when I started, but, you know, things changed and it became a horrible place to work. The only people who are going to say that Walmart's a good place to work are the people who are lifers, you know. I mean, basically they're making an entire career out of it. And anyways, oh, slow drivers, I love them. So I was, you know, living in a rut, you know. I mean, my life was going nowhere. And okay, come on, people, I got a schedule to make here. Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate on my driving, not on talking. Sorry. The thing is, since I'm recording this on my phone, there's not going to be any editing down. So unfortunately, the spots where I get distracted or quiet, you're just going to have to, you know, tough your way through them. Anyways, what proper English or proper term, but whatever. So then I started praying about the idea of getting a house. And I don't know why you think you're driving so fast. You ain't getting anywhere. You got a slow person in front of you too. Really wish these slow people would move, because I really want to get to my next stop. Please speed up. So I started praying about the idea of getting a house, because I had my buddy Ralph that I mentioned. I was talking to him about, you know, how much rent I paid in my apartment. He goes, you know, how long have you lived there? And I said, almost 14 years. He goes, well, you've been living, as long as you've lived there and as much rent as you pay, you could have owned a house by now. You could have had a house paid off. And so I started thinking more and more about it, and realized that he was right. I did the figures and everything. I figured up about how much rent I had paid over the previous 14 years, and I realized, I could have paid off a $60,000 house at this point. So I started looking into, houses and everything, and long story short, I prayed about it, and eventually ended up getting the house I've got now. And the reason I know it was a blessing from God and that my prayers were answered is because my friend is a realtor, and she helped me to find this house. Well, she said that the loan officer told her that she has never seen a loan get approved that quickly for a house, and also never had sellers come in and sign the agreement that quickly, So, I mean, that to me was pointing out that it was, that it was God answering my prayers, and that was the beginning of the change of seasons. Got my house. Well, then after that, I got this truck that I'm driving now. Well, no, after that, I found my church home. Up to that point, didn't have a church home. Well, I found Bethany Baptist and just felt like, God wanted me to go there. And once I got there, I just knew that that's where he wanted me to be. And since then, I've become a member of the church. I've become very active in the church, helping out, with as a tech person. And somebody's going to end up getting into an accident here in a second. I'm one of the tech people there. I record sermons and run video and everything, and so that's what I'm doing in the church. Plus, I'm the Lord has blessed me with leadership of a Bible study and everything. So yeah, there have been a lot of awesome changes, and so that happened. That was actually a big step for me too, but still it was smaller, compared to what, the point I'm getting to. And I'm sorry this vlog's so long. But I ended up, after that, getting this truck, which was a huge blessing. And then after that, I changed jobs. I quit because I worked for Walmart for almost 16 years. So changing a job wasn't a small thing for me. But it didn't feel like it was that big of a thing. And that's because, again, I prayed on it until I got definitive answers and, clear signs that I was supposed to leave Walmart. So I left Walmart, started this job. Well, since then, there's not been a whole lot of changes until now. That goes back to Erin and hearing that that's the name of the woman. That goes back to her and the fact that she quit Walmart and me realizing I was never going to see her again. And that, again, was God answering a prayer. Because I told him, he's been giving me clear indications through his word, through my studies of in the Bible, and through different commentators and on the Bible and everything, that he wanted me to let go of her. Well, I tried my hardest, and I tried as hard as I could to let go of her, and I just couldn't. My feelings for her were way too strong. I'm a very, very emotionally driven person. I'm one of those apparently rare guys that is very in touch with his emotions. So I get that from my dad. So it is literally impossible for me to let go of her. As hard as I tried, I couldn't do it. And the thing is I wanted to do what God wanted me to do so badly, but I just could not get myself to do it. Well, I started praying, and I told the Lord, I said, God, I can't do this. I'm not strong enough to let go of her. please help me, to get through this. And I even mentioned a couple of times, how much easier it would be for me to work at the Walmart that I used to work at if she wasn't there. Well, then I had a missionary that used to attend my church years back before I started. He's a missionary over in India, him, his wife, and his kids. And a few weeks ago, he was back in the States for a visit, and I got to meet him, and just instantly I clicked with him. I mean, it was amazing, how. But that happens when I meet, real true Christians. I just instantly click with them. And that's the way it should be. But I was talking to him, and I was telling him about, how my biggest issue, the biggest distraction I have in my walk with Christ is that I desire so badly to find that special someone, to find the woman that he needs for me to be with, to have a good relationship centered around God, that it's that search has been a distraction to me. And he was listening to me, didn't just sat there and listened. And after a while, he goes, "Can I pray for you?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely." Well, he prayed for me, and he prayed specifically about the relationship thing, and he told God, please, there's someone out there that's a godly woman that you have in mind for Derek, and I just pray that you would please. He said it a lot more eloquently than what I did. He said, I pray that you would please, prepare them for one another and help them to meet, soon. Well, it wasn't too long after that, literally it was 2 weeks after that I found out that Aaron was leaving Walmart, and that's when it clicked that God was answering my prayer and the prayer of Matt. That's the name of the missionary, Matt. And it just blew my mind. But like I said, it hit me to try to be joyful through the circumstances. It wore on me to the point to where I got depressed, and yes, I broke down in tears once, and I came close a couple of times, but that's how much she meant to me. And because when I love someone, I love them with all my heart. I don't give them just a part of me. I give everything that I am, to that person. So it hurt bad, to find out that she was gone. And then when the realization hit me that God was answering my prayer, he took it out of my hands, letting go of her. He's like, okay, I heard your prayer. You can't let go of her, and you admitted that. You admitted you're not strong enough to do it on your own. So now I'm going to take it out of your hands for you. And so he removed her from my life. Well, even though I knew the truth, and I knew that this was the end of the changing of seasons, as far as I know, I was very upset, I felt like I had no hope, and so I was depressed for a while. And it wasn't until yesterday, which yesterday was the day that I broke down. Finally, because yesterday was Saturday. Friday was her last day working at Walmart. So yesterday I was in there, and normally she would have been working that day, and the knowledge that she was no longer going to be there just really wore on me. So when I got home from work, I just broke down. I couldn't do it anymore. I've been holding it in for a week, and I finally just broke down, and I was crying out to the Lord, and I was apologizing profusely to God for crying, because and the thing is, there was nothing wrong with what I was doing, and God didn't see anything wrong with what I was doing, but I felt guilty for crying about something that I asked Him to do. And I never once blamed Him. I'm no longer one of those people that when something in life happens that I see as bad, I'm not gonna, or that I have a negative reaction to. I'm not, God, why are you doing this? I used to do that back, a few years ago, but now I don't. Even through my tears, I thanked Him for doing this for me, because I know it's a good thing. I'm very grateful that He's taking out of my hands what I wasn't strong enough to deal with on my own. And that's the whole point of this incredibly long vlog, which again, I'm sorry it's so long. It's to tell you that when you're going through all these series of trials in your life, and you hit one big one, just know that all these trials are signifying the change of a season. And that the big one at the end, the big trial that you're going through that seems to bring so much change is the very last one, most likely. It's not always the case, but it's the very last one before some good things happen. And now today, there's still sadness in my heart. There really is. There's a lot of sadness in my heart that I won't see her ever again. But this morning, on the way to my first stop, or second stop, I was praying, and I started thinking about what this means. And that was another thing that happened, is there's this song by a Christian group called We Are Leo, and the song is Supernova Sunrise. And in that song, I've listened to that song hundreds of times, and never once has it spoken to me like it did yesterday. And the whole thing is about living in the dark, the darkness of this world, and not looking to the light that God shines upon us. And when you start to rely on Him, it's like a sunrise, a supernova sunrise. Well, all the lyrics just spoke directly to what I'm going through. I mean, literally, it was like God was speaking to me through this song. And one of the lyrics is, if I could just hold on a little longer. And I just knew at that moment, even though the lyrics had been there the entire time, they never spoke to me like they did yesterday. I knew that was God telling me, just hold on a little longer. And so, thinking about that this morning as I was praying, I started thinking, if I just hold on a little longer, like God told me to, I'm going to meet the woman that He wants me to be with. And the love I'm going to have for her is going to completely trump the love that I had for Aaron. And I'm going to look back on this time right now of sorrow, and it's going to seem so trivial. And I will finally have that happiness of a relationship. And but I started thinking about the spiritual side of things, and I started realizing things are going to get better. And, on top of all that, I have the hope of eternity. You know, so there's no reason I should be so upset about what's going on. So that's my message to you, is when you're going through so many tough things and it feels like you're just going to break down, just hold on just a little longer. Just cry out to God, ask Him to give you the strength to carry on through this, and just hold on a little longer, because you're going through a change of seasons, and eventually the new season is going to begin, and you're going to look back on your sorrow and you're going to be so grateful that God made things so much better for you. So again, I'm sorry that this vlog was so long. I mean, literally, it got me through my entire travels. I'm literally pulling up to the next Walmart that I have to stock. And I mean, that was like, I think 50 miles worth of driving that I've done. And while I've been talking to you, I even drove through my own town while I was talking to you. So forgive me for this being so long, but I felt so strongly about recording a vlog talking about the way seasons work in our lives, and how you shouldn't let, you know, trials get you down, because eventually the new season is going to start and you're going to be so joyful, and things are going to be so much better than what they were in the old season that went away. So thank you for joining me in this vlog. I am the Holy Warrior. God bless you all.